Okay, I've been waiting to tell you about this all week. Microsoft just released this week a free version of Azure SQL Database. So no more paying, no more forking out $200, no more student discounts. It is 100% free, of course, in limited capacity. The databases can't be too big. It gets reset once a month, but it's free, absolutely free. Free databases from Azure SQL. What does this mean for you? Well, this means if you are a person who's trying to get familiar with Azure SQL DB and you already have experience, you can spool up free Azure SQL databases. And it also means if you're a student and you're looking to learn SQL and you're tired of only being able to do SQL practice with the limited data sets that are available online, you can go download a data set from places like Kaggle, data.gov, etc., and just load it into Azure SQL and practice your SQL with that custom data. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you are. SQL Dev DBA here, and I'm just so excited to share Azure SQL DB free edition that just launched this week. Now, why is this important to me? It's super important because I have this story of how I used Azure SQL for the first time when I purchased it, and I thought I was just doing a standard data set. I loaded like a million records of New York airport weather information into Azure SQL, and I get this email from Azure saying, "Great job loading that data, fantastic work. You owe us $150." And so I was like, what? And it turns out that me loading the data and all that usage ended up being about $150 worth of work. I panic deleted the data, so I was left paying $150 and also with no data. So that was my first experience with Azure SQL, as far as like paying for it on my own. So there's really nothing left to do but to try to use this. Again, I haven't even tried. I went on the portal just to make sure my offer was there, and I confirmed it after Bob Ward. Huge thanks to Bob Ward, by the way, for announcing this on Reddit. After Bob Ward announced it, now I used to only be able to pitch Live SQL from Oracle. If you go to Oracle Live SQL, it's livesql.oracle.com. It allows you to just play around with a real Oracle database. They have sample data you can play around with, and you can also load your own data, which is super cool. Now, Microsoft basically just released their own version of it. And not only is it for developers, but it's also technically for production. I could run production environments if I wanted to on Azure SQL, as long as I keep them limited in capacity. I went straight into Azure Portal because I couldn't believe my eyes. And I saw the offer is there. It's ready to be activated. So anyone can really go in and do this as long as you have a portal.azure.com account or just an Azure Portal account. I happen to have one from a very long time ago that I've just kept running. And now there's this free version. It's a much better experience because they have safeguards in place. So if you're using too much or getting towards your cost threshold, they'll actually allow you to shut them down completely, or you're allowed to go ahead and start paying for the usage that you need. So I'm really excited to try this out. I've been resisting all week just so I could try it out right here with you by my side. I have not touched this thing, and I really want to get going. So let's just start now. Let's go. Yeah, now. Okay, the magic and stuff will happen, and then we'll be on that screen, I promise. Okay, so here we are in the announcement page, or the Microsoft Learn page. It's basically where Microsoft puts all of their documentation for you to be able to read it and follow instructions on any particular topic. They have fantastic learning plans for things like Power BI, Azure SQL, as you can see here, and just really anything else you can think of, including Azure itself. It is learn.microsoft.com, and it's 100% free, which is fantastic too. So this is where they tell you exactly how, step by step. As you can see, there's going to be a banner here when we pop open portal.azure.com. We click apply offer, and then it's going to just knock everything down to zero. It talks about the monthly free limits. It talks about the prerequisites. So here's the important part. You need to have an Azure account already. If not, you can just create one. it says that you can also use Azure Evaluation. So if you only have an evaluation account, that's absolutely fine too. Like it says, it's many services available for 12 months. If you're a student, I think you get like $200 in credits with an EDU email. So that's great too. And you just need an Azure subscription. So we're going to go ahead and just get started because I already have an Azure subscription. One last thing. Look, it says, while the previous offer required an Azure free subscription, this new offer is available regardless of your Azure subscription type. So that's really cool too. Okay, so let's hop over to my portal. So this is my Azure portal. It allows me to create any resources I need, any SQL databases. As you can see, my resources, let's go to my resources, which are just a SQL Server, a storage account, and an Azure SQL database. Here, it actually allows you to look at my SQL Server on its own. So you can see that my SQL Server is called SQL Dev DBA Dev 1, and the Azure SQL database that's in it is also called SQL Dev DBA 1. So you can see these right here. They're in something called a resource group in Azure as well. I like to think of a resource group as like a server room, but really Azure has lots of different definitions. So again, I'm going to go ahead and go home, and then I'm going to go straight to SQL databases. Now you can see right here, there's a SQL database. I'm going to create. And now when I hit create, you can see that offer that it was talking about on Microsoft Learn. It says, want to try Azure SQL database for free? Create a free serverless database with the first 1000 vCore seconds, 32 gigabytes of data, and 32 gigabytes of backup storage free per month for the lifetime of the subscription. The limit is 10 free databases per subscription. So I can have up to 10 databases at a time going here in Azure SQL. It's fantastic. All right, and I do want to clarify something. When I looked, I tried to create another Azure SQL DB database after I had created the first free one, and it looks like you cannot do that. So I'm going to go ahead and try to create another SQL database. I'm going to go to my SQL databases. Here we can see my free one. That was a free general purpose is the pricing tier. So I've already created my free database. I'm going to try to create another one. And as you can see, the offer is just not there. I get charged the normal rate for a low price database. They're still cheap, but as you can see, it is no longer free. So this only popped up again after I deleted the database and went to create another one. So I think the 10 might just be, hey, you get up to 10 of these if you drop and recreate them all the time. So please be careful with dropping and recreating these databases because it seems you only get 10 of them. So that's very, very important. What I'm going to do is go ahead and say apply offer. So when I apply the offer, you'll notice that the estimated storage month went to 0. Again, I'm going to remove it, and you can see that it's actually $478 US dollars per month. When I apply it, it goes down to 0. So that is amazing. That is absolutely amazing, and I'm super happy it is there. So it says SQL database hyperscale, low price. I don't really need that, so I'm just going to keep going here. It says my subscription is pay as you go. That is my subscription, so I'm okay with that. My resource group is just this one. I'm not going to create a new one. I don't need one. I can just house it right here in this resource group. All right, my database name, that's going to be, I don't know, SQL Dev DBA free one, just because I want to emphasize the fact that it's free and it's the first one I'm creating under this free model here. The server, I'm just going to go ahead and create it using the same exact one I have so far, or I can create a brand new one, but I'm not going to because I already have a server that exists. Here I can also configure it. It says it is a Gen 5 with 2 vCores and 32 gigs of storage. That's what's free. It's already giving us that for free. If you look, it says Gen 5 V2 is here as well, and the cost per gigabyte is $0. The max storage is 32. You can see it says the first 32 gigabytes of storage are free, and the first 100,000 vCore seconds are also free. So here is where you can set the behavior when the free offer limit is reached. That's super duper important. Really, really important. You don't want to end up like me having wasted $150 worth of stuff. What you want to do is set this to auto pause. You do not want to set it to continue using database for additional charges. Again, stop right here and make sure that it says auto pause the database until next month. It says when the free offer limit is reached, the database will not be accessible until the beginning of the next calendar month. When free is renewed, there will be no additional charges. It's stopping you from catastrophic failure of the wallet. Is that a thing? Failure of the wallet? Well, it's going to be a thing if you don't select the auto pause. So select the auto pause. Make sure you don't get charged every month. All right. So backup storage redundancy, it doesn't even let me change anything. It just says, hey, you're going to be housed in locally redundant backup storage. So next is networking. So here it allows me to set all my firewall rules, including things like allow Azure services and resources to access this server. It looks like no is something. I'm going to add my IP address, but I'm going to do that offline because I don't want you to see my public IP address. And basically what it's going to do is add this machine's IP address to the firewall so that I can access the server from this machine. If not, all you have to do is just go straight to the SQL IDE that Azure has internally, and you can access it from there. But I want to be able to access this machine. I want to be able to access this database from my Mac and from my Windows PC and a couple other things. So I'm going to go ahead and create this after the fact. Now, it also allows you to have private endpoints. I'm not going to do that because I don't have a virtual network here in Azure, so I do not need this. There's lots of stuff here that you just really can't play around with, just default stuff that it pre-selects for you. Now, security. Here, it asks you if you want a free trial of Microsoft Defender for SQL. I do not want that. I just want to keep going with the free stuff. I don't want a ledger either. I'm good. It's asking you if you want transparent data encryption or TDE. I'm going to select off for that stuff too. Then I'll go to additional settings. Right now, it's asking if you want to go to a data source. So do you want a data source already? You know what? Here, I'm going to go ahead and select I want a sample database, which already has data in it. It's asking me, hey, do you want to try the AdventureWorks LT database? As you know, AdventureWorks is just like a mock store that Microsoft always uses for their demos. They used to be Northwind Traders, I think is what it used to be called, but AdventureWorks is their new one. It says selecting the sample will modify the compute and storage settings configured in basics for backup compatibility. Ooh. So I don't think I'm going to do this then. Maybe I'll play around with it later. For now, I can't recommend that you activate it because I'm not sure if it's going to change anything. So for now, I'm going to recommend that you don't do it. And I'm going to give you a couple scripts to load down here in the description of the video. You can go ahead and download those scripts and it'll auto generate things like the Brent Ozar salary survey. I'm going to have some stuff with sim racing data in it as well, some insert statements, so that you can get to work and play around with data if you want to. And one more clarification is on the sample data from AdventureWorks. I'm here in the additional settings area and use existing data, the option that I mentioned, really I wasn't sure and I couldn't recommend it. What I can say is that if you just use a sample one, it does not take up a lot of room. It doesn't change your pricing tier. It remains at 0. In fact, the one I have actually made right now, that one does have the AdventureWorks sample data because I wanted to try it out and see how it is. So I'm just going to go ahead and log in and show you sort of what I mean by that. All right, and here I am inside my newly created database with the sample data already attached. You can see when I go to the tables, I have the build version error log, I have sales LT data, sales order detail, customers, addresses, customer addresses, that sort of thing. I am able to now use all of this data. So if I want to right click on these and select top 1000 rows from our customers, I can see the top 1,000 rows from our customers. And that data was preloaded using the AdventureWorks schema and all of its data components. I think this is the small version. All right, so I'm actually going to go to the overview section of our database. And as you can see, it has all of my information. However, if I go down a little bit and go to the monitoring section, this does allow you to see how much space is consumed. And as you can see, the entire AdventureWorks database only consumed 10.8 megabytes. So I still have 31.9 gigabytes out of 32 free. You can also see the activity. And I'm going to switch this over to the last 24 hours so you can see. But my select statement is going to pop up somewhere around here because I just did it. So this was all the activity, spooling it up, bringing it online, and adding the data to it. It probably just restored it from a backup instead of actually running the insert statements just to save on resources. So just so you know, that is there. And I also had to wait a little bit, maybe like 30 seconds or so for my database to come online because it automatically shut off after I want to say about an hour. So it does do that to preserve. If there's no activity, it'll just shut down. And then the next time you go in, it'll take a little bit to spool up again. So hope that helps. All right, I'm going to hit cancel here and just leave it at none. It's going to ask me for my collation, which this is the standard case insensitive and accent sensitive. Since I deal with Spanish data a lot, I would probably say AI or accent insensitive. Things like the ñ, things like the accents over the letters, things like diaresis, those are sensitive. And if I say you, with or without the diaresis, I want it to be the same and not have to be modified. So I would probably put AI, but you are welcome to leave it as AS. That is the SQL Server standard most that it comes with. All right, in the maintenance window, I guess it allows you to select a maintenance window. I'll say 5 p.m. to 8 a.m. because I'm okay. I don't need this for production, but if you do, then you need to make sure you have a selected maintenance window that fits your needs. All right, next is tags. I'm just going to leave this blank. I'll tag it later. I don't really have a lot of resources, as you saw from my initial one, so I really do not need this. So now it's time to review and create everything. I'm going to go ahead and click review and create, and here we go. It says my estimated cost is $0 per month. My compute cost is $0 per month, and it tells me about my agreement. It tells me about my region. It tells me about my database names. All that stuff is here, and all of my settings. So it's very, very cool. And I think we're ready to go. I think we're really good. It also allows you to download a template for automation. So I'm going to go ahead and click that. And basically what it's going to do is it's going to give me a JSON file that allows me, I'm going to click OK. By the way, I'm on my Mac. Don't know if I told you that yet. I absolutely didn't tell you that, but I wanted to do this from my Mac just to prove if you're a Mac user, you're going to be able to run SQL Server now on your Mac, but it's really going to be in the cloud. You don't have to worry about a machine. Students, also you, if you don't have the resources to have a SQL Server running in your home lab or at your work, you really don't need it. As long as you have your own portal.azure.com account, you will be good to go. I have like 3 mini PCs. Let me show you here. I have like 3 of these mini PCs that I use for home labs. You don't need them. You don't need them anymore. Whoops, there you go. That's not good. You don't need them. You really don't. Unless you want to do some like hardcore database administration, I'll be the first to tell you, you really don't need them if you're a student and all you're trying to do is practice SQL. Maybe practice some create scripts, some create drops, insert some grants, some basic administration in SQL or in Azure SQL. You're good to go here. So let me just stop talking and head on back. I'm going to close this right here, and I'm just going to go ahead and create it. And there we go. It's creating, it's submitting the deployment. The deployment is in progress. And oh wait, I'm gonna go ahead and do like the finger snap. Am I supposed to do a finger snap? Hold on. It's now. Oh, and while we wait for this, Look what it says on the screen right here. Free Microsoft tutorials. I'm going to go ahead and click on that and open it in the new window. This is what I was talking about earlier. Free Microsoft training is available for you right now at learn.microsoft.com. You sign in and then you customize your path, and it has different modules for you to follow. It is fantastic. I used it for Power BI. There's Power BI like dashboard in a day stuff in there that you can also use. It is absolutely great, and I really, really encourage you to get in there and give it a shot. So Microsoft, thank you very much for providing this for us. This video is not sponsored by Microsoft, by the way. I just really like the product. I've made a living on the product, and I'm super excited that they're offering all of this stuff for free. All right, and there we are. It is done. My deployment's complete. All my resources are here. Here's my deployment details. And now when I go to my resource, there it is. This is my database. I don't want to give feedback. You know what? I'll do a 10. I'll do a 10. I'll give it a 10 feedback right now just because I'm super excited about what's going on. All right, so I'm going to get started right here. You can see that one of the options here is query editor. So I'm going to go right in and I'm going to sign in. I'm going to continue as my username. All right, and as you can see, I can't even get in. So I have to set up some firewall rules and make sure that I can get in here first. The first thing I'm going to do is head over to my networking section, and I can't see it right here. So I'm just going to go to the overview, and then I'm just going to go to set server firewall. It's going to automatically take me to my security and networking area. And what I need to do is add my current IP address. I'm going to say SQL Dev DBA Mac Mini, and I want to say allow Azure services and resources to access this server. I'm going to say yes, because of the fact that I want Power BI to be able to access it, and I also want other Azure resources in my workspace to access it here. So I want to make sure that selected networks only can connect to this. You want to have this as secure as possible. I am not a security expert. You may want to look up on YouTube Azure Security or Azure SQL Security, that sort of thing, because I want to make sure that you can go ahead and create this in the most secure way as possible. So check out any other channels. Things like John Saville will probably help you out quite a lot. All right, so I am done. I went ahead and went back over to my overview. And when I go to settings and SQL databases, I can now see my paid database, which is this one right here. And I can now see my SQL Dev DBA free one. That's here. My pricing tier is free and general purpose. So I'm going to go ahead into that resource, and I'm back over here. You can start developing, it says, using Visual Studio. You can use Visual Studio Code. If you're on a Mac, you can use Azure Data Studio, but it's going away very soon. And you can also connect it through SQL Server Management Studio or any other DB tool that you have. You just have to go to the server that it needs, and it actually shows you connection strings that you can use. So this is fantastic. It shows you exactly how to use it, and I'm super, super excited that it lets you do it. Okay, so all we have to do is go straight to our query editor again. All right, so here I am in the query editor. It's going to be my first time logging in now because I did all the adjustments I needed to. So let's try it out. All right, so I had to go in and set my admin. If I went into settings, I go to Microsoft Entra ID. I went ahead and set my admin. So it's going to look for everything, and I want to be able to set myself as an admin here. I'm going to use admin at sqldevdba.com, which is me. I'm going to select it, and that is now going to be my admin. Now I'm going to go back to my SQL database. It is online. All right, so here I am at the server level. I want to go ahead and select a Microsoft Entra admin. Azure SQL has changed the way that you administer SQL servers, and it's been a while since I touched mine. So I'm going to go ahead and configure a Microsoft Entra admin right here, and I'm going to set an admin. I'm going to set myself an admin, which is admin at sqldevdba.com. As you can see, I have quite a few users right here, but I'm going to select myself. I'm going to say select, and I'm going to click save. All right, so now that I've clicked save, I'm going to go back to the overview. All right, so now that I'm back here, I am going to select settings and then SQL databases, and I'm going to go ahead and navigate to the database that I need. I'm going to click the query editor, and now I get to log in for the first time and continue. So I'm doing that successfully, and here I am in my brand new SQL database. You can see it's SQL Dev DBA free 1, and I can run things like select, get date, and just run that. And now it tells me the date. So I can do stuff like create tables. So create table, DBO dot test table 1, and ID as an int, and notes as a, oh, let's do a date timestamp as a date time, and nope, not date timestamp, and we'll do notes as a varchar 500, and it lets us create the table. There we go. Now I'm going to insert into dbo.test table 1 ID, and the ID column, date timestamp column, and notes column. And what I'm going to insert in my values is 1, get date, and hello, welcome to your free Azure SQL database. And we're going to run that. And now we can select top 100 star from dbo.testtable1. And there's our data. So again, we are going to be able to have this populated with tons and tons of data. I'm going to give you a small, medium, and large data set that you can maybe play around with, maybe 100 rows, maybe 10,000 rows, and then one with 50,000 rows or more, which is the sim racing data one. So I'm excited for you to try this out. Let me know how it works. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and get started. I got lots of stuff to do to be able to connect to this to Power BI, connect it to SQL Server Management Studio, and possibly connect it to the rest of my servers here on-prem or on-prem in my home lab. So I'm really excited. If you need any help getting this up and running, feel free to do some commenting here, down here below. Let me know if it worked out for you. Let me know if you're excited. Again, you're gonna see links to different data sets that I have ready for you to insert. They're just going to be insert statements, create table and insert statements, so you can get working immediately as soon as you turn these databases on. Hopefully these help you out, and let me know in the comments if this helped you out, or what other tricks you would like to see in the future, or what tricks you have for me. I'd love to hear those too. All right, thank you so much for watching. Remember, I am live on Twitch most weekends, if not every weekend, just sharing what I know in the data and BI world. So feel free to stop by. My link to Twitch is below. Feel free to stop by, ask me any questions, or just say hi, or just lurk. I love lurkers. You can just chill and watch me in the background there for your videos. I will see you there, and see you next time. Bye.